everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today in celebration of National Mentorship Day later this month. I'm Liz Pisney, Senior Director of Member Experience at ISACA Global, and I'm excited to introduce to you to our experts that we have here with us today. First, I'd like to introduce you to ISACA Board Director, Veronica Rose, who is also an IT Audit Manager at KPMG East Africa. Veronica played a role in helping us develop ISACA's new mentorship program through her feedback and input as an ISACA volunteer. Welcome, Veronica. It's great to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
Second, please meet Caitlin McGaw, a career strategist and search coach and regular career columnist in the at ISACA newsletter. Welcome, Caitlin.
Thanks, Liz.
Happy New Year to you both. So before we dive into the details of ISACA's mentorship program, let's talk about some of the benefits of mentorship in general. Caitlin, can you share an example or two of how you've seen mentorship make a real difference in someone's career?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. There are just so many good stories. I'll try and quickly give you two, but one is about an IT audit manager that I know well, works in a large financial services organization. She had an eye towards not only improving cross-functional work relationships, but also maybe moving her career towards information security. And she set up a bunch of meet and greets to meet new people across different functions, and particularly in information security. And she continued those meet and greets. They weren't just one-offs. And over time, through those meet and greets, she found some people who could mentor her. And the bottom line is that through both those mentoring relationships and the increased visibility that she had in the organization, she was nominated for this elite leadership program, and now she's a senior director in information security. So that's one. The other one that I adore is about a senior IT auditor with data analytics skills who didn't know a ton about audit yet, but had joined an internal audit function because of her data analytics. And she met a fellow who had 30 years in the IT audit field, a specialist, and he was super excited to learn about SQL. So he'd come to her with SQL queries. She needed somebody to teach her about audit methodology. So this seemed like an instant kind of interesting pairing, but here's the cute bit. So each day she liked to go to a particular coffee shop for a cup of coffee, and she'd ask her team, like, who wants a coffee? And he would always say, oh, me too, because I love that place. And over time, he decided he'd join in on the coffee run. So they would do the coffee run together, and that gave them this other format for talking about work, talking about non-work, and organically building this relationship. And she said, not only do we continue to swap skill sets, this kind of beautiful mutual mentoring, but she said, I got so much out of the fact that he taught me to speak up for myself when I had new ideas to contribute, and that has made me hugely successful in my role. I think that's just a lovely story.
That's so fantastic. It sounds like, mentorship is not just for that moment, but for the long run as well too, and not just about those technical skills, but those human skills, those more durable skills that we all need in our careers. That's really great. Veronica, I know from working with you that you've been both a mentor and a mentee. Could you tell us some of the benefits that you've personally experienced from those interactions?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Liz. Unfortunately, when I was starting out in my career, I didn't get the privilege of being mentored in a structured way, the way we have the ISACA mentorship program. And I must say, I was subconsciously mentored by the books I read, the content I used to subscribe to, and the videos that I used to watch. So I've majorly won the heart of a mentor. And I must say it's a learning journey. So some of the benefits that I've experienced personally as a mentor, one of them is I've learned to be an active listener, listening to the mentee, sharing, understanding their point of view, understanding their fears and their aspirations, and also being able to get them accordingly. Another thing, I've also become more empathetic. Also being able to recognize that we are in different times and eras. For example, like this generation requires more honesty, demands more transparency. So I've learned giving feedback, despite whether it's tough or not, but a good way of giving feedback in a transparent way. And I've also learned to do more research. Because I must confess that sometimes a mentee will ask you a question that you have no idea about, But through the interactions, you're able to understand what they have asked, and then you do more research, and then you compare with the experience that you have or gathered through your work experience, and then be able to tackle that in the next session. Another thing is accountability. When sometimes when you have a session with the mentee, you're holding them accountable on the things they're going to report to you later on when you meet. So as a mentor, you're also not going to eat your own words. So I've learned to be accountable in the due course. And the one last one is a funny story too. I once requested somebody to mentor me, and I ended up mentoring them. So that's the beauty of how mentorship goes. So they actually reach out to me most of the time for guidance, and apparently she requested me to even become a godmother to her newborn. So mentorship is kind of fun, and I've enjoyed it in that way. Over. Thank you.
That's so amazing. It sounds like not only career changing, right? It can help, but also life changing, right? Partnerships and friendships that you can build and take with you over time as well. That's so fantastic. Mm-hmm. So thinking about that, like, as you're paired with a mentor, mentee, it sounds, it's really important to get the right person for you. Right. So Caitlin, I'm wondering, maybe you could tell us, in your point of view, what are some of the most important characteristics of that successful mentor and mentee relationship? Maybe what are some of the common mistakes that can be made that could make it less successful as well? Some of the pitfalls, if you will.
Yeah. So these are all sort of behavioral things, but I think creating and maintaining trust. Preparing, Veronica just touched on that. I mean, especially on the mentee side, when a mentor asks you to do something, asks you to try something, asks you to read something, do that. And then following through, showing them that you've done it, bringing your questions around what they've asked you to do, bringing the struggle you had, like why was it hard, or why were you not able to do it in a way that you thought you could. All of that follow through is absolutely critical to building that relationship. And then gratitude. I mean, the mentor is there out of the goodness of their heart, the desire to share, the desire to do good. And there's nothing that warms a mentor to a mentee and makes them feel soul satisfied in this endeavor than hearing that their time and their insights are appreciated. And finally, it's a two-way street. So you don't just sit at the foot of the mentor, waiting for them to impart all their knowledge to you. You also have things you can share with them. And whenever you have information or an idea that you think would be beneficial to the mentor, share it. So reciprocity. And then the mistakes, not doing the above. I think they are all pitfalls. If you don't do all those things or some of those critical things, it won't be successful.
Yeah, it's absolutely a two-way street, right? It's not, like you said, not somebody that's sitting at your feet and you're just dispensing knowledge or something like that. It's the mentee needs to become prepared for that as well too. So Veronica, as a mentor, what is it that you hope for from the mentee that helps you be most helpful to them?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Liz. And I 100% agree with what Caitlin has mentioned. And I must say that asking for help is not easy. So by the time someone comes out and says, I need mentorship, they have really put aside their ego and their fears to come and get help. So I like mentees who know their why. And the majority of the people that I've mentored can attest to this, that always in our first sessions, I usually ask them to carry out a self-awareness or personality test, just to gain clarity on who they are, what their weaknesses are, and to give me a baseline on where to start from on guiding them. So the results from that test, they are mostly what I use to ensure that I guide the mentee especially on the non-technical aspects in their journey. So setting the clear expectations in our first meeting is usually one of the things I emphasize, and also having an understanding of the roles of what are they going to do, what are the expectations of me, so that I encourage them either to take on the driver's seat, because As a mentor still, I'm just there to provide guidance. So most of the work is on the mentee side. And then this is just me, but I like mentees who have stubborn dreams. That mentee who is so brave, who is hungry for knowledge, who is curious, that open-minded mentee makes me also want to, to engage further, to know how can I best help them with their fresh thinking, how can I best guide them in their curiosity to ensure that they achieve their goals. I'll give a short story. There's a mentee I had. She was from a civil engineering background. So from our sessions, on the third session, she comes and tells me that I'm going to switch my career to cybersecurity. Then I was like, how, why, And then later in the fourth session, she tells me that I switched career. I'm now in cybersecurity. I'm like, wow, okay, tell me about it. How did it happen? So she tells me that I've been watching you, I've been listening to you, and I think I got inspired to switch my career. I was like, oh, wow. So since then, that also clicked to me, telling me that I take mentorship seriously now, because I understand it impacts someone's career, and also the decision they make in life at the end of the day may be because of the mentor they had. So I also look at proactiveness. If a mentee is proactive, I usually give them time to be proactive, to take the driver's seat. A mentee who checks in once in a while to ask a question or to share feedback, the way Caitlin has mentioned, on the agreed on points. The next time we meet, if they have done what we agreed on, or they share challenges that they faced during that doing what we had agreed on, it makes me want to help them more. And then another thing is a mentee who writes a follow-up email, maybe thanking me. I treasure that, because I find, who doesn't want to be anyway thanked at the end of the day? So if a mentee writes back saying thank you, I really treasure that. And also it gives me an understanding that this mentee values the time I spend with them. Over. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Gratitude is so important. It feels good to give it and receive it. And especially in what could be, a really life-changing relationship. So Caitlin, we talked a little bit about how mentorships can be, maybe just for a season, or they can be really long-term. What do you tend to see more value coming from? Those seasonal ones, or those long-term those seasonal ones with a real specific time frame and goal, or more of those long-term relationships?
So my mantra is, it's really great to build a team of mentors, if you will, your own board of directors. So, the characteristics of that board, since you're the CEO of your career, is to give you insights, and a long-term person who you've worked with, maybe a former boss, or it could be a professor, or it could be a treasured family member who runs a business and has watched you grow up and develop. There's all sorts of people that can play these long-term mentorship roles. And I think that perspective is really valuable, because they can pull back and look at you over the course of time. They understand the moves you've made, the mistakes you've made, and can give you that perspective. At the same time, there are so many instances in our careers where we have a specific skill we need to learn, might be a technical skill, or we're trying to master, particularly as we ascend the ladder towards leadership, a variety of very complex social competencies, protocol understandings, internal politic navigation. There's just so much to learn. And so having people who can be specific mentors for specific tasks, and maybe that's a one-off, or maybe that's 6 sessions, or maybe that's a year, but it's somebody who teaches you that for that period of time, and then maybe you pull apart and that part is done, but you stay in touch with them. So I think there's, a variety of ways. I think the bottom line here is that successful people have mentors. They have worked to understand the how, what, when, why of mentoring, and how to build successful relationships. And it didn't happen magically. As Veronica said, they were proactive. They put their egos aside. They stepped into the role of beginner learner. I'm here humbling myself to learn this from you, and I'm going to do that. So I think that is just look at it this way. Mentoring is a critical career competency for success.
That's fantastic. I know, I'm sure you are both in the same place. I don't know that I would be here doing what I do today if it weren't for a few key people in my career, and still keeping in touch with them. I too have a personal board of directors as well. I love that idea. I encourage everyone to do that as well too. Wonderful. So I know, Veronica, actually the first time that you and I met was when we were developing this program, the mentorship program here at ISACA. Can you tell us a little bit about why you believe mentorship is so important for us as a community?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Well, I was instrumental in the development of this program because this is something more personal to me. If I could share a small story again, is that when I was starting out in my career, I didn't have a mentor. So I had no opportunity of a mentorship program like this one. So I didn't, it was more of a trial and error kind of thing, trying to figure things out. I can even remember that when I completed my bachelor's degree in computer science, I immediately enrolled for a master's degree in information systems. And then after that, I was applying for jobs, entry-level jobs with a master's degree. And at some point, on several occasions, I felt stuck figuring out what comes first, what comes next. So no regrets though, because currently I have mentors and I also have more mentees, I say. But that experience made me become more intentional, knowing that there are quite a number of people who may be in the same shoes that I were in a few years ago. So in 2020, I used to mentor a lot of people. Even now I do, but the numbers had grown bigger. We just had a chat with Caitlin before we came live. So the number had grown bigger, and I was looking for ways of making this sustainable because I was just alone and like, how do I sustain this on an individual level? That's why when you came in and you're like, there's this program that we need to run as ISACA, I became very instrumental because I was like, yeah, we are going to cater for a bigger community. It's going to benefit our members. And also they'll be exposed to a pool of a number of professionals in our community. And I'm happy to share that currently we have 1,015 mentors who have signed up for the program, ready to mentor ISACA members. So that is a win so far. And I remember when the program was also rolled out in 2020 and 2021, the mentorship pilot cohort, over 350 members signed up. And from the survey that was done by ISACA, we received feedback for the 2020 participants, and 75% say that it supported their professional development. 96% felt like the mentorship program strengthened them in the ISACA community. 87% felt the mentorship adds value to their ISACA membership. So for the survey that was done in 2021, the participants also say that 83% say that it supported them in their professional development. 96% felt the mentorship program strengthened them in the community, and 91% felt that the mentorship added value to the ISACA membership. So you can see how the program is really changing lives. And the beauty about the ISACA mentorship program is that it is more focused on the mentee responsibilities, which makes it more unique compared to the mentorship programs that I've seen out there. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I always say that one of our secrets here at ISACA is the community. It's our members. And I just am always so amazed and delighted every time I speak to one of our members or go to one of our conferences. Just such a wonderful group of individuals, right? And we were talking a little bit about this before as well. Some of these professions aren't necessarily something you go to school for, right? Or know right away that you want to get into. So it's so great to have this group of individuals helping you navigate that path, right? And because it's not as easy a clear path to where it is that you want to go. So it's wonderful to have that support of our members there. So Caitlin, we'll get this next question for you here. One of the benefits of the ISACA mentorship program is that it provides a match based on a number of criteria, meaning that the mentees have a great match at their fingertips. So how do you suggest that mentees prioritize criteria when selecting a mentor? For example, someone in a role, should they look for someone in a role that they'd like to hold, someone within their organization, outside of it? What recommendations might you have?
Yeah, I think, mentoring, the big thing is determining what it is you need and what you're trying to learn. And that's where I like Veronica's idea of this, kind of personality assessment, but also a career assessment that you can do for yourself in terms of where am I trying to go and what are my gaps? And then looking for that mentor with the expertise that you need. And just to echo, I think that's where the ISACA mentoring program is incredible, because oftentimes it's sort of daunting to figure out where do I look for that. And here is a bevy of people at the ready within your community, which is a very generous, kind community, to choose from and to dive in and get matched with. And I think that's amazing, because once you get that skill set and you gain confidence that this mentoring thing is something you can do, you can expand your horizons in terms of being even more proactive to find additional mentors. So I think mentors who are in a position that you're aspiring to can teach you a tremendous amount about their day-to-day. Where have you identified the right gaps? Are you focusing on the right things? What does it take to be successful? That's huge. At the same time, finding mentors who are in different functions so that you expand your understanding of other areas, not only how to work with them and how they think, but also areas that you might want to go to. People at different levels, and mentors, it's not by age, it's what skill and experience they have to offer and teach, but different levels can be helpful to you. People two steps above your boss, people at peer level to your boss, but in a different function. All these can be valuable. External mentors are an incredible way to expand your perspective, bring new ideas, especially in companies that have like this is the way we do it. That's not how everybody does it. So it's great to have those perspectives, and just techniques, tips, training that come from this broader base of experience. And also, and the Harvard Business Review has talked about this a lot, having external mentors, and that building that external network is actually a safeguard around your career portability should you need to look for a new job or want to look for a new job. And then finally, I think finding somebody that you are at ease with, that has a communication style you're comfortable with and you feel comfortable talking to. So I would prioritize all those things.
Liz, before we get to the audience questions, I'd like to ask you a question as well. What are some of the outcomes we are seeing in the ISACA mentorship program?
Yeah, it's a great question. And this is one of my favorite programs. I'm always happy to tout the results and what it is that we're seeing. So I'll do a little bit of a by the numbers recap first. I know Veronica shared some of the satisfaction statistics and how it's strengthening the community. I checked with the team. We have about 2,000 participants in the program today. It's about a 60-40 split on available mentors and mentees looking for guidance. So we do have some unmatched mentors for anyone out there that might be looking for one. And I'll tell you a little bit of some stories about when we started piloting this program a few years ago. We had assumptions about the program that were proved to be untrue, which was really neat and exciting. So for example, I think we all assume that mentorship is for people early on in their careers. Right? And while we did see and do see a great deal of participants that are at an early career stage, we also saw members that had been in their careers for 20 plus years. And I think that's a reminder to us that mentorship is beneficial, really at all stages of our careers, as Caitlin just mentioned as well too. Learning and improvement doesn't stop for us as humans, right? We keep curious, and it's great to have a support network during those times and those seasons that we need them. We had also assumed that people would maybe connect with those that were more local to them geographically, which we found wasn't always the case, right? We have members that connect across the globe to support each other. And the feedback that we've gotten is that people are not only finding support to navigate their career journey, but also taking the opportunity to build cultural awareness. And at least one instance I'm aware of, to practice their language skills, which I think is really cool. And, you know, not all mentorship is about technical skills too, right? Our One in Tech Foundation also plays a role in this program, and they offer special sessions for participants on topics like DEI and emotional intelligence, those durable skills that all of us need as professionals. So I think those are some of the highlights that I found great about this program. Also, you know, calling out in the chat, we see that Jason, who says that it's been helpful for him to engage in the Rising Professionals Forum on ISACA Engage. That's been a great place for them to connect with mentors and mentees. So there's all sorts of modalities, right, that you can do this in. We also have Johnny comment and said that he has just started at an ISACA student chapter. So we have our professional chapters in cities around the globe, and many of them have student chapters affiliated with that as well too. So it's a great way to, again, no matter where you're at in your career, if you're just starting there or you've been doing it for 20 plus years, you know, we can all use a little bit of advice navigating things from time to time. Veronica, is there some parting comments that you'd like to make for the audience today?
Yes, Liz, I have for both the mentees and the mentors. I'll start with the mentees. So to the mentees, if you don't know how to do something, find someone who does it and request for guidance. Don't wait to learn from experience, because when you wait to learn from experience, you're going to waste a lot of time. You're going to make a lot of mistakes that you might have avoided by getting knowledge from somebody who had already experienced the same. And also be careful with what you consume, because we become what we consume. It's not just food, but the information you listen to, the groups you subscribe to, the communities you're affiliated to, the podcasts that you subscribe on, all that is mentorship. Either consciously or subconsciously, you're being mentored. So be careful on what you consume. And then to the mentors, if someone is worth your currency, kindly give it to them. If you mentor someone also, ask them to mentor at least 2 people as a way of giving back. So let us be great mentors, and let's say yes to mentorship when an opportunity arises. I would like to thank all the volunteering mentors who create time and create a runway for the rising professionals to shine. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I've never thought about that mentorship is all the information that we consume. That's really great advice. So I want to thank you both for sharing your expertise with us today, Veronica, Caitlin, and thanks to everyone who's joined us. For ISACA members, please visit the link on your screen to learn more about ISACA's mentorship program and consider becoming a mentor, a mentee, or both. This is an exclusive benefit that we provide to our members. So if you're not yet a member, a future member of ISACA, and you'd like to learn about the professionals we support, join today and get involved. I encourage you to share this conversation on LinkedIn as well to reach your colleagues who might benefit from ISACA's mentorship program too. And if you haven't already read it, be sure to look at yesterday's At ISACA newsletter, which includes a wonderful career column from Caitlin. So thank you everyone so much, and have a great day. Happy New Year, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye.